Several announcements before we start. Homework 2 is due today. Quiz 3 next Monday. So I try to make quiz 3 a little bit easier. So only multiple choices and covering materials from week 5 to week 7. Basically the ICMP attacks and TCP attacks. And I will reuse some related questions we had in midterm. And the lab for DNS attack with detailed instructions will be posted today. And you have more than 10 days to finish lab 4. So today we are going to have our last module in authentication. And this one, there is no crypto protocols, so hopefully it's not as boring as last one. So far we have learned that there are basically 4 types of user authentication mechanisms. And we also studied that crypto-based authentication. So if those crypto-based authentication are using symmetric key, so basically the most important part is that key. And since users, they usually cannot remember crypto keys, so those keys can be derived from users' passwords. And we also studied Kerberos. So Kerberos can offer mutual authentication with one trusted third party. And that trusted third party knows all the users and all the services. So Kerberos is like the first practical protocol that can support single sign-on. So now we are all familiar with single sign-on. We sign in with Google, sign in with Twitter every day, but Kerberos is like the first one. But the problem with Kerberos is there has to be one trusted third party, which knows all the users and services. So if you are adding new services, that third party has to know that as well. So usually it is used in a controlled environment, such like a large corporation or organization like ASU. And they support all kinds of services, file services, not has to be HTTP based. But in our internet right now, most services are using HTTP, and there is no trusted third party. That's why there is a new protocol called OpenID to solve this problem. So OpenID tries to solve the same problem. The users, they do not have to maintain account for each website. They only need to remember one account, one password, and use that one account, one password to log into all the websites they want to log in. So how to use OpenID? First, you have to register OpenID with an identity provider. And basically the identity for your OpenID is not an email address, but a URL. So whenever you want to use this identity, you can open a website. That website uses OpenID service. So from the website, you can find a control like this, login with OpenID, and you need to input your OpenID account there, which is a URL, not an email address, not a username. And note that at this step, this control is in that web server's web page, not the identity providers. So you do not need to share your password here. You only need to put your OpenID here. Then after you click go, let's say you have a OpenID user.openid.net, and you will be redirected to the identity provider's website. In this case, your identity provider is openid.net. And from there, that openid.net will ask you, this website you were just visiting, is asking for us to confirm your identity. Do you want to log in? So if you click yes, then you will be sent back to the original website you tried to log in. And the service website, they do not really have your password. Only the identity server has your password. In this case, the identity server is openid.net. So there are many identity OpenID providers or identity servers. So if you use Google, you can use a google.com profile and your Google username as your OpenID. And you see this is different from your Google username. And this is not an email address. This is an URL. And all other websites, Yahoo, Flickr, they also provided OpenID for a while. So what is the difference between OpenID and the Kerberos? So because they are trying to do similar things, help you to single sign on, only need to input your password once. So OpenID is designed for an open environment, such as the internet. Since this is an open environment, there is no really a single trusted third party. So if you call these trusted parties, there are many third-party trusted third parties, not a single one. But in Kerberos, there's supposed to be one. And any service provider, like a website, they can work together with any identity provider to authenticate users. So this is open to everyone. Yeah.
Is this kind of like if you want to sign in to like something that says use your Facebook account?
No, this is before that. We are going to talk about that later. So the OpenID servers, the identity providers, they only know about the users. But in Kerberos, the trusted third party knows about the users and all the services. So whenever you have a new service, you have to register with the Kerberos trusted third party, and the Kerberos trusted third party has to share a secret key with a service. But in OpenID, you don't have to do that. So basically, OpenID can only authenticate users, but not service. But in internet, sometimes we do need mutual authentication. We do want to verify that the website is also legit. But we already have a solution for that. It's HTTPS. In HTTPS, we are using the website certificate, the public key crypto system to verify if the website is a phishing website. So that problem has been solved. So OpenID here only tries to authenticate users. However, several problems with OpenID which has been preventing it becoming very popular. So first, everyone in the internet, they want to be an identity provider. Like Google, Facebook, they want to be an identity provider. They want to keep users' information for their business purpose. They don't just want to rely on another party. But startups, they do can use something like this to speed up and reduce their cost. So this is a problem, but not a huge one. So even the existing solution we're using, logging with Google or logging with Facebook, still has its problem, but it's not a huge one. A big problem may come from the user experience. So users, we have been familiar with the concept that I'm using an email address as my ID. So it's kind of weird for a lot of users to accept the concept of a personal URL as your global identifier. It's kind of weird. So because of all those reasons, OpenID has been proposed in 2005, but how many of you have ever used OpenID? No? Not even one? So you don't have a URL like that? Okay. So this has been proposed in 2005, and in 2007, Microsoft started supporting that. everything looks very good. And in 2008, Yahoo also announced that they are going to support the second version of OpenID, both as a provider and a relying party. And in late 2008 and 2009, Google, IBM, Microsoft, VeriSign, Yahoo, they joined the OpenID Foundation. And later PayPal and Facebook also joined that foundation. Looks like it's going somewhere. However, at the same time, something you are familiar with came out in late 2008. So Facebook, they announced their own authentication called Facebook Collect, also called Login with Facebook. It's kind of like OpenID, but it is a set of authentication APIs. So developers can use those APIs to help their users to log in to authentication and also to collect and share with the other friends, their Facebook friends. So this is more than authentication. So Facebook Collect, it integrates the features provided by OpenID, but it's more than OpenID. It provides something more like authorization. So because of that, in 2013, then after Facebook announced their Facebook Collect, Google also announced the similar thing, login with Google. And in 2013, we can see that more than 80% online logins, those using social login equivalence services, people are using either Google or Facebook. Some are using Twitter, but not many people are still using this OpenID. But this whole idea was inspired from OpenID. So in 2014, there was once very large myopenid.com, was a free OpenID identity provider. It was shut down. And also, almost the same time, Facebook decided to leave OpenID Foundation, and you can no longer use OpenID to log in Facebook anymore. So the current practice is we are using something called OAuth 2.0. It was developed almost the same time as OpenID. At the beginning, it was more used for authorization. So the auth here is not authentication, but authorization. Then later, it integrates more authentication features and has been replacing OpenID. So you are familiar with this. This is what you do every day now. You log in with Twitter, log in with Facebook or Google to another website without offering your password. So you only offer the password to Twitter, Facebook, or Google, not the website you're actually logging in. So if you are interested in this OAuth 2.0, there is a great paper from CCS 2 years ago called OAuth Demystified for Mobile Application Developers. I will post this paper, so if you are interested, you can take a look. So the problem of current practice, no matter OpenID and OAuth, is the same. Still, users, they still have to remember at least one password. And they still need to input at least once. Not to the website you are using, but to the identity providers, Google, Twitter, or Facebook. But still, you have to use that password. And because you are using the password, the server, the Google, Facebook, or Twitter, they still have to remember a secret for each user. So that secret is somehow related to your password. It can be plain text, even though that's not the good way to store your password, but some companies, they are still doing that, using plain text password. And they can be a hashed password or encrypted password. So even if an attacker can only retrieve some hashed password or encrypted password, it's just a matter of time before they actually compromise your password, compromise your account. So if you have thought about that, there is a website called haveanincome.com. So if you input your email address there, you can see a lot of password leakage incidents, and if your account and password or other information have been stolen by attackers from this website. So I tried this this morning using my Gmail account, and it has been compromised 7 times. Then I tried my SU account. Usually I don't use that for so for my personal things. So that one has not been compromised. So you can try this one. So in order to solve this problem, so we don't want the servers to remember any secret or users to remember any password. So there is a new protocol and called Fast Identity Online, or FIDO. So in this protocol, there is no third party, so which is good for internet, because we don't want to have a single trusted third party in internet. And there is no secret on the server side of the FIDO, and the FIDO can use all kinds of authenticators. In this case, the authenticator can be your fingerprint readers, can be your voice readers, and all those biometric data collected by those authenticators will only be kept in your local device. They will never be sent to the server side. So the server has no secret like password and no privacy information about you. So how this FIDO works. So this is in general how old authentication works. First, this is a user, and the user authenticates himself online by presenting some kind of secret, like a password. And the password has been stored in the server side. So even though with single sign-on, even though only one server, one company needs to store that, still someone is storing that, and that company could be compromised. So in FIDO, it's kind of different. So you are the user, and you have a local authenticator, and this local authenticator could be on your phone, on your iPhone or Android phone. There could be a fingerprint reader, and or a laptop. You can also have a fingerprint reader, or you can get another special device with a fingerprint reader, and all other authentication methods don't have to be fingerprint. So you only authenticate to this local authenticator. You are not directly authenticating to that service. And that local authenticator is trusted by those remote servers, by those websites. And whenever you log in, you try to authenticate, and first you have to register, then that authenticator will generate a pair of public keys for you, a public key and private key for you. And that public key will be sent to the server. And later the server will use that public key and the challenge response we started before to verify if you have the corresponding private key. So in that case, the server only has the public key, which is not a secret. So how it works? So this is the FIDO registration. First, you are the user. You are visiting a website, and you have to, first of all, for legacy websites, you still have to input your username and password at least once to register that I am going to use FIDO, and this is my FIDO authenticator. You need to associate my FIDO authenticator with my account. Then that website will send back an invitation, and the user will approve that invitation, and the new authenticator, your local authenticator will generate new keys, RSA, a pair of RSA keys, and that public key will be registered to that web server. The private key will only be kept in that special device you have. Then when you do authentication, the website will send a challenge to you. And then you need to authenticate yourself using maybe a fingerprint. So you just swipe your finger, then that your authenticator realize, oh, this is the correct fingerprint. Then the authenticator will retrieve the secret key and the response to that challenge from the website. Then that website will know the authenticator already authenticated you, and the authenticator then signs that message, the response message, back to the server. So the key here is there is a trust relationship here. The servers, they have to trust the authenticators. That's why the manufacturers, they manufacture the authenticators, they have to be certified. Not everyone can manufacture an authenticator for FIDO. So FIDO was proposed only 3 years ago. At the beginning, only 6 members, 6 companies joined the FIDO. Then quickly they have announced the 2 protocols. One is called UAF, another one is called U2F. So U2F is kind of like the 2-factor authentication we talked about before. So it uses 2 factors, but both of them are authenticated locally, not remotely. So still the server doesn't remember your secret. Then some website has been deploying FIDO, and there has been a certification program. So only manufacturers that has been certified can produce these FIDO authenticators. And the websites that support FIDO will only accept the login request from those certified authenticators. And today there are already more than 200 members in this FIDO Alliance. They are pushing FIDO forward. And in our lab, there is, in the protocol, there are deregistration procedures. Yes. But that's a problem, and another problem might be privacy issues associated with FIDO. So actually in our lab, we are looking at the privacy issues with FIDO, because this is kind of like a TPM. There is a private key and public key associated with this device. So even though you cannot really know which user is using which device, but using those keys, you can know those transactions are related. That can expose some user privacy. So we are looking at those issues. So in TPM, there is a crypto protocol to solve that problem. But it seems like it cannot be easily applied to FIDO. So now you understand the difference between FIDO and the other single sign-on, like the group sign-in with Google, and the difference between sign-in with Google and Kerberos, and the difference between Kerberos between other user authentication methods. So this is all about authentication. Any questions so far?
It's per device. So if I have my cell phone and set up FIDO on it, do I also have to set it up on my laptop, and also have to set it up on my iPad?
So basically, it's like it's kind of like now how you use GitHub. So when you use GitHub, you will upload your public key to GitHub, and you can do that. You can upload multiple public keys, and each key is associated with one computer. So it will be the same as FIDO. So your account is actually associated with multiple public keys. And each public key has a corresponding private key for a specific device. Any other questions? Okay, then don't forget about the deadline today, and see you Friday.
I can't remember the next class.